Welcome back to Heart with Abagaba. If you caught part one of my conversation with Phyllis King, you already know how rich and relatable it was. So rich, in fact, that we ran out of time and had to keep going. In this second part, we pick up right where we left off, diving even deeper into the realities of sleepless nights, the power of consistency, and how small changes can bring big peace to family life. So, settle in, take a deep breath, and enjoy part two of my heart to heart with Phyllis King. Stay tuned. Hi, I'm Abby Dominguez. This is Heart to Heart with Abba Gaba podcast, and I'm so glad you're here. I spent over a decade as a nanny and teacher, learning from children and families around the world. Now I bring those lessons to you, heart to heart conversations with people from all walks of life, sharing stories of love, laughter, and resilience that remind us of the power of connection and community. Subscribe today and join our village of heart to heart listeners. Phyllis, welcome back to part two.
Thanks for having me, Abby. I love
You're,
this conversation. This is
I
great.
do too. This is such good conversation. I had to get a part two. I'm sorry the Zoom cut us off, but we're together again, so that's all that matters.
That's right.
And we're talking about how do parents know when it's time to drop a nap? You address that beautifully, or transition from a crib to a big kid bed. And then we're talking about how not to rush it, but to let kids fully outgrown their bed, I mean, the crib before we transition. So
Yes.
have the floor, have it away. Tell
All
us.
right. So yeah, I mean, again, I do not, I am team crib for college. That is a hill I will die on. I recommend, not rushing those babies out of the cribs. The crib is the safest place for them.
Yes.
Once you take your baby out of the crib, anything can happen. Um, you know, so you really, when you're going to do that, if you must take your child out because they're climbing out, it's a safety issue, then you've got to get rid of the crib. So when that happens, I always recommend that parents essentially turn the room into a giant crib, which means that you need to take anything out of the room that can potentially hurt your child.
Mhm.
Even something like a lamp, because your child, a young toddler, will just pull on a cord and that can,
Right.
hurt them. Or curtains that your child can reach. Not too long, maybe a year or so ago, I was working with a client and her young toddler, they had to take her out of the crib because she was climbing out and falling and getting hurt. So I recommended we essentially turn her room into a giant crib, but she could reach the curtains. So, it's things you don't think about. And she pulled the
Mm-hmm.
curtains down, and the rod landed on her. So,
Oh,
so you really have to look at everything in the room and essentially think of that room as a giant crib and remove everything that can
everything. Yeah.
potentially hurt your child. Even things on a changing table that your child can climb up and grab and reach. You really just want to turn the room into a giant crib, just walls and whatever floor bed or toddler bed they're going to be sleeping in,
Mm-hmm.
and nothing else. And if you cannot remove furniture, then you've got to bolt it to the walls,
Mm-hmm.
because those are also safety issues. It's a
Right.
danger. So, but again, I always feel like if you don't have to take your child out of the crib, if your toddler is not climbing out, leave your, your toddler, your young child, leave that child in the crib until they outgrow it or they're climbing out, because it is the safest place. And when you are ready to transition your child to a floor bed or a toddler bed or even a full-size bed, you'll have a lot greater success if you are trying to negotiate this with an older child who understands boundaries and rules and safety and can navigate, you know, better
Yeah.
than to say take your 18-month-old or freshly 2-year-old out of a crib, because they're still kind of a baby at that time.
Yeah.
So, I always caution parents, not to rush that and wait as long as you can. You will have better success with an older child, and it will feel less daunting, and there will be less pushback
Mm.
when your child is older because they understand. the boundaries and they understand
Mhm.
the bed is for sleeping. Younger toddlers and babies are just, they're not made for that yet.
Yeah. My my twins, they have the cribs next to each other, and then one day I had a feeling to go up and check on them during nap. So baby girl had climbed into brother's crib.
No,
They were
stop it.
so thank I'm like, what just happened here? Okay. So
So cute. Oh, I love
and
that.
then my husband lowered it, and then we thought there is no way she can climb out. Oh, it was hard work, but she still climbed over. And so now it's lowered to the very low and she's having fun. So
Yes.
I wouldn't rush it because if you get a day bed, don't you just have a safety thing on the side? Like I don't know what those things are called, like a side rail. Yeah. So, there's no
Yeah.
rush. Let's not rush
There's
it.
no rush. There's
Just
no rush.
go.
And I even say to parents, if they're having another baby and they say, well, we need the crib. I say, honestly, I feel like you're better off getting a second crib. And you can find great, secondhand deals or something, gently used and just, make sure it's clean and sanitized for
Mhm.
use for your own kid or, even something inexpensive, that's safe. But I always recommend if you have to if you're having a second baby and you need the crib, if you don't have to get that baby out of the crib to use it, get a second crib. It's just the
Mhm.
safest way to go.
Right. It's really the safe. I remember there were times when my girl wants to sleep with me, but I'm like, the crib, it really is the safest place because then they roll over, they sleep, they toss and turn, and then so the crib is really the safest place. I'm all for that. I wanted
Yep.
to ask you, what's one piece of advice would you give to exhausted parents right now?
I would say to exhausted parents right now, keeping in mind that most of us are on a lot of social media and there are a lot of opinions out there about a lot of things.
Hmm.
My best advice would be tune out the noise. Don't worry so much about what social media influencers are telling you, and you do what's best for you. You
Hmm.
do what you need to do that helps you show up for your child in the best possible way.
Love it.
So if that means that you need to get your child to sleep and you need to sleep and you need to ask for some help and get some support and learn how to make that happen, just go ahead and do that. Abby, I feel like there's so much noise on the internet, with
So much noise.
mom influencers saying, it's just the season that your baby is in. It doesn't last that long. But you know what? It feels really long when you are exhausted to the point where you can't think straight and you are slurring your words and you feel like when you hold your baby, you're going to drop your baby.
Oh.
That's not healthy. So,
Mm-mm.
you know what? That's not a season. And you can get help and you can get support and you can learn how to get the sleep under control for your baby's development and growth and well-being and for yours so that you can show up for your baby the way you want to. When sometimes I work with parents and a mom said to me she was driving with her two boys in the car and she said she felt like she was nodding off at the wheel. And
Oh.
she said that's when I knew I needed to get some help and get some support. And we worked
Yes.
together and we solved that problem.
Hmm.
And another mom said to me that she was so sleep deprived and so exhausted that she was out running errands and she had to sit down on the floor of whatever store she was in. And she called her husband to come and get her because she was
Oh.
so exhausted that she didn't think that she could drive home. You know,
Mm.
when you're that tired and that sleep deprived, it's not it's not okay to be that way. And it's not okay to tell moms, well, this is what you signed up for, and this is just the season that you're in. So
Oh.
tough it
Yeah.
out because it'll be gone in a few years. That's
No.
that's not
No.
safe and it's not healthy.
It is not.
You don't, when you're so sleep deprived as a mom that you don't feel like you can function, it's okay to tune out the noise on
Oh
the
yeah.
internet and all the posts that are telling you that this is just your season and just suck it up. And it's okay to tune that out and do what's best for your family.
I'm all for that. As you were talking about asking for support, if I can share this little quick thing, exhaustion is no joke. Sleep deprived is no joke. I remember when my babies were younger, this kind lady came over to help me. She goes, I'm here, so you need to do whatever you need to do. So I'm like, okay, I'm gonna take a shower. In the shower, I could fall asleep. I could just kneel and lay in the tower. And then I realized how tired I was. So I finished and I was gonna lay down for 30 minutes. I woke up hours later and I was like, oh my gosh. And I was apologizing to her. She goes, no, that's why I'm here. That's what I'm here for. So please ask for support. And I'm so glad you mentioned that
It's
support.
so easy to fall into this is what I signed up for, and this is and honestly, like this term just irks me. The season that your baby is in, the season of exhaustion to the point where you can't function safely, that's not a season, that's a
It's
danger.
not, it's not, it's a
And
danger. Yeah.
and when you're there, you need to do things differently. So if you need to get some support so that you can get some rest or your baby can get some rest, or you need some support to teach you how to put it all together so your baby can sleep independently, that makes you a better parent.
It does. It really
Right? Like, didn't
does.
you feel like when you were that exhausted, like falling asleep in the bath, like didn't you feel like you couldn't show up for your children
Oh,
and
yeah.
that you need to be for them?
And like,
That's how I felt.
yeah, I love how you said asking for support. I cannot say this enough because I was on the go, I was on the go, I was on the go. Had I not had help, maybe I would just kept going, right? But once I had support and I stepped back, then I realized how deeply exhausted I was. So we may not think we need the support, but please, I can't say enough. I love how you said it to ask for support,
And it's there, it's out there. But you have to find it and you have to be willing to accept
to
that you
accept.
can't do it
Yes,
alone because we
right.
don't all have a village, the village of my parents' decade and generations before, that is hard to find now.
Mm-hmm.
It's not the same, when my grandparents came, they came here from, their native country and they landed here and then, you know, all the people from their village in Italy all came to the same city and they all landed here and they all had each other and there was the village because families were more nuclear. They lived closer together and they could lean on each other. And then, as things change in technology and suburban sprawl, like people tend to move away and stay away. And so moms are sort of scrambling sometimes to find their village, or maybe you don't have parents or, family nearby that can support you. But it's important to find some sort of support. And if you don't have any, learn how to get your baby to sleep independently so that your child can sleep and you can sleep.
I
You know,
love it.
if you don't have another human to count on, or it isn't in your budget to hire somebody to come in, you can learn the skills in your own home and implement them, and things get so much better when everybody is well rested.
I love it. Thank you so much for sharing that insight. So I want to ask you, if
Sure thing.
you could go back to the most exhausted version of yourself as a new mom, what's the one thing you would tell her about sleep?
I think about this all the time. I always think to myself, and this is again part of the reason why I do what I do, because you don't know what you don't know.
Hmm.
If you knew what you didn't know, you could fix it. There's resources all over, books, internet, YouTube, like you can learn anything. But you don't know what you don't know. So if you don't know it, can't you can't fix it. So
Hmm.
I think about this all the time and I think if I knew then what I know now, I I would have, like, my first and second kid would have been so much better sleepers. With my first baby, like she was up all day because, and it's ironically, I did know about consistency and routines and predictability. And because I was a classroom teacher for so many years and I taught 5-year-olds. So if you think it's easy getting 25 5-year-olds, to be compliant and, working and into a routine, that is not an easy chore. And I did
Hmm.
it for so many years and I loved it. And like classroom management and consistency and like routines and getting it all flowing, like that was my superpower as a teacher. And when you do that, you can then teach. you have to manage your environment before you can expect anybody to learn anything.
Yeah.
And I was great at that. And then like I had a baby and I had baby brain and like it went right out the window. All of my professional training and everything I knew about learning and development went right out the window because I was a new mom and I was just listening to my baby's cues and doing what my baby was telling me to do. And my baby was telling me to carry her around all day, never put her down or she would scream, and she never slept unless she was attached to the breast. And that's what my baby was telling me. And the world was telling me that this is this is what you do. This is what motherhood is. And I'm like, I am really, really tired.
Mm,
Um, and so if I could go back and tell my new mom self, I would tell myself what I eventually figured out and learned.
mhm,
Start to establish a routine and start to teach this baby that she can do this and she can sleep. She can develop the confidence to learn a new skill and learning, and not as a newborn. Again, we don't do this with newborns. Newborns need us. They need the contact and the connection. And, in that fourth trimester when they're right out of the womb, we don't put brand newborns down to sleep independently. That's not realistic. I'm
mm.
talking about once those babies get over that newborn fourth trimester hump and
Right.
are kind of calling the shots. Like I would have told my first time mom self to start establishing a routine then and start to teach this baby the confidence that she needs to fall asleep without being on the breast.
Mm,
Because learning any new skill requires confidence. And confidence we can teach this to babies,
mm,
but it starts with parents. Parents need to be confident that their children can do it. And when parents are confident that their children can learn a new skill, then the babies start to try and they learn. They are, our emotions are contagious. So if we are confident that our children can do things without us and then can learn skills independently, then our children learn that confidence and then they start to try.
mm,
So
mm.
I would tell my new mom exhausted self to start to implement a routine and start to teach the baby that she can sleep without being attached to my breast.
Yes.
That's what I would teach my
Mm.
first time mom self if I could go back in time.
Because babies are capable of things that we don't think they are. And if we just teach them and by example, we can encourage,
Yes,
then it will, they will learn and it will be like a natural
right.
thing they do and it will be
And it's
joyful.
confidence. Yeah, and it's confidence, Abby.
Mm,
It's confidence. If because our emotions are contagious. So if we are confident and we exude confidence and we feel like our baby can or our toddler can learn to sleep, go to sleep independently without a bottle or rocking or, being
mm.
attached to a breast. If we are confident, they will pick up on that confidence
It
and
will,
they do.
yeah.
If we think, oh no, you don't understand, my baby can't sleep without me. If you think your baby can't do it, then your baby can't do it.
Hmm.
Whether you think your baby can or you think your baby cannot, you are correct. So it's all about mindset and confidence.
That and
If
confidence. I
you
love
think
that.
your Yeah, if you think your child can and you have the confidence that your child can learn a skill, then you are correct. But if you don't have that confidence and you think your baby can't do it without you and must be dependent on you, you are also correct.
I love the word can. It's so empowering. I find so much power in that,
Yes.
that mindset. Like my baby can. My baby can. Like I love that.
It's
Phyllis.
like it's
Mhm.
like learning any new skill, Abby. Like when your toddlers were learning how to walk, right? When your kids were learning how to walk. Babies fall down, right? They try to stand and they fall and they try to take a step and they fall. You probably didn't say to your twins, "Oh, well, you fell. You're not going to walk now." Right? You probably encouraged them and instilled the confidence in them
Yeah.
to be able to walk and take the
Mhm.
next step. And because you were confident and you encouraged them and you were confident that they could do it, they fed off your confidence,
Oh
they
yeah.
learned your confidence, And then they started to try and
Mhm.
they did it and they can.
I love it. I just love it. I can't say it
Falling,
enough.
falling asleep and back to sleep independently is really the exact same thing.
It
It's
is.
teaching a skill and it starts with the confidence of the parent.
Because if they don't sleep, then the irritability affects us. But if
Yeah.
it doesn't help anybody if we're irritable, then it can read off our emotions and they're irritable. And then it's like irritability all around. We can't.
It's honestly, it is cyclical. It really is. It affects so many things. It affects the way you show up for your child, your mood. It just affects everything. Lousy sleep overnight can derail the day in the morning and, get everyone off on the wrong foot. And so if you can put that piece into place, things do get easier. And so, again, going back to your question of like, what would I tell my most exhausted first time mom self? That I would tell my my first time self mom that, because once I learned that and it clicked for me that I already had the power to get this all under control and get this taken care of and manage sleep in my household. And then I did it. Everything got so much easier. And people would say to me, you have two kids under two, and oh my goodness, now you have three under three, and now you have four under four. Are you crazy? And I'm like, no.
No.
No, because once I unlocked the secret and I knew what I needed to do, it
Mhm.
didn't matter if I had four kids or six kids. It just the day flowed, my household flowed because I was leading. Bedtime was parent led. I wasn't allowing my toddlers to lead bedtime
Mhm.
and tell me how bedtime was going to go.
Mhm.
Bedtime was parent led
Mhm.
with love, patience, respect, baths, cuddles, story time,
Oh,
song, all the things. But but I led bedtime.
I
I didn't
love
allow
that.
my toddlers to tell me how it was going to go.
I love that. And again, I had a thought about mindset and confidence. Oh, I remember now. So, sometimes when my kids, when they were much younger, when they would take a nap, and then suddenly I felt like I had so many things to do. And I had to be strong and say, okay, Abby, no, this can wait, this can wait, prioritize and then just say, I need to shut my eyes for a little bit so I can be strong and
Hmm.
healthy again to help my babies. And so the mindset comes in. I love how to have the power to shut everything down and say, no, no, sleep is
Yes.
sacred. And I'm going to give myself a 30 minutes to shut my eyes. Because sometimes babies can sleep for an hour or less. You'd never know how long they can sleep. So it's so sacred. So when they
Yes.
sleep, then I need to have the mindset and say, tune out the noise and then just shut my eyes for a little bit and then be strong again to pick it up when they wake up in the evening. So
Yes.
mindset, confidence, I love that.
Absolutely. Because their nap time is sacred, but it's also sacred for you. It's your time
Mhm.
to recharge your batteries. And
Mhm.
whatever that looks like for you, whether that's you close your eyes and take a short nap or watch a show on Netflix or read a book or call a friend and just, catch up with your
Mhm.
girlfriend or whatever that looks like for you,
Mhm.
that's also it's an important part of the day.
It is. It really is. Oh my goodness, this conversation. I love it. So, do you have any final thoughts for us? And do you want to leave us your website so we can follow you when this
Oh, I have
conversation has
so many thoughts, Abby.
ended?
I could go on and on all day. My final thought is, that I feel like, and I know this because I have four kids, and so I've been a new mom. I've been a mom of young children. And my final thought is that it is okay for you to do what you need to do so that you can show up to be the best mom you can be for your children.
Love
So
it.
if that means that you need to not be up all night with your baby or your toddler, if you need to get sleep under control in your house and you don't know how to do that and you need some help doing that, it's okay to do that. It's okay to do whatever it is you need to do to manage your household. And that looks different for everybody.
Mhm.
But it's like, I hate to use the cliche analogy of like putting your oxygen mask on first, but it's true
Mhm.
because as the moms, like I don't know about in your house, but like in my house, if if I go down, we're all going down. So it's really important for me that I make sure I take care of myself and
Mhm.
whatever that may be. That could be, making sure I get a workout in, get in a walk, go to the gym, make sure I'm sleeping, make sure I get enough sleep, take a nap when my babies are napping, or, whatever that is. It's so my final thought is to make sure that you do what you need to do so that you
Mhm.
can show up and be the mom you want to be for your children,
I love it.
whatever that may be. Now, how can you find me? I am on Instagram at Beyond Sleep Solutions, and my website is www.beyondsleepsolutions.com. I have a bunch of freebies on my website for infant moms, toddler moms. My site is super easy to navigate. So if you are looking for some free support, I have a toddler checklist. If you have a toddler that is running around, throwing shenanigans at you all night long, um, I have a resource for you. If you have a baby and you don't even know how to establish a consistent schedule of when should naps be, how long should naps be, I have an amazing sleep chart on my website that's free. I have some other freebies too, some other, free stuff. So I have a free newborn safe sleep guide. So if you are a brand new mom or expecting, or someone, the safe sleep guide is available for free. So I've got a bunch of freebies on my website, and they're all on there, so you can check them out. And yeah, and I'm pretty responsive, in messages. People message me all the time on Instagram. But check out my website because there's some good stuff on there for free.
Love it. I will be sure to include the site and your handles in the show notes as well
Right.
for our listeners.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Oh, and thank you as well, Phyllis. Thank you so much for visiting me today on Heart to Heart with Abagaba and for reminding us that better sleep isn't just about routines. It's about helping families feel rested, connected, and confident again.
Yes. Thank you so much for having me, Abby. I loved our conversations today.
I loved it as well, and have a beautiful day. That was Phyllis King sharing her warmth, wisdom, and humor with us. Her insights remind parents that peaceful sleep isn't just possible, it's part of nurturing the whole family. To connect with Phyllis and learn more about her work, visit her website, beyondsleepsolutions.com, or on Instagram at Beyond Sleep Solutions. And to you, dear listener, thank you for joining us for both parts of this heart to heart. I hope you feel encouraged to take small, gentle steps toward rest for your little ones and for yourself. Until next time, take heart and take care. Thank you for sharing this space with us on Heart to Heart with Abagaba. I hope this conversation inspired you to keep moving forward in hope and light. If this episode spoke to you, please share it with someone you love. Leave us a review and don't forget to subscribe so you never miss a moment of inspiration, connection, and joy. May your home be filled with peace, your heart with joy, and your spirit with the quiet strength of love. Until next time, take care of your heart, take care of each other, and keep celebrating the love that makes us family.